start? Well, straight up the middle. It's just me, the professor, but I do have DJ CEO with me. Clint and Pete are out doing something. I don't know what they're doing, but
What
they're
you
doing
think you're
something.
doing, Professor?
I don't know. I have no idea what Clint
Shooting
could be
hooky?
doing.
Doggone shame, isn't it? In this day and age.
He just loves putting me on the hot spot.
Yeah, I see you sweating a little bit.
Yeah, already.
Already. I ain't even got started
It's
yet.
the age thing. Just forgive me.
Okay.
All right, we got a good show lined up for you. Let me pull up the topics here.
What we got?
We're going to talk about Roe v. Wade, but I want to talk about it in the context of the black community. But we don't have to get too in depth with it. And I was hoping we'd have some female callers or something, because it always seems a bit awkward to have this conversation
without a female.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you get jumped on. What you doing opening your mouth about this?
You don't know nothing
you're
about
a guy.
that. Wow.
But and then we'll talk about the protesting, because it really ties into it at the homes of only the conservative justices protest outside their homes. And then we get into this Biden inflation and the baby formula shortage, and I guess we'll end it with what's going on in Georgia. Trump,
Okay.
Kemp,
Okay.
Abrams, Pence showing up. He's back slapping Kemp. He's gonna. I guess he's already been down there once, but he's gonna. How I would call it. Anyway, he's gonna be supporting. He's gonna be campaigning for Kemp in Georgia. So I thought that's pretty interesting. So let's start out. Roe v. Wade. Well, let me tell you something interesting about this. And as I prep for the show, I always want to make sure I articulate this the right way.
All right.
I used to struggle with. I got past when they said when people characterize it as protecting women's reproductive rights.
Right.
I've always had an issue with that. I'm not sure I've gotten over that, but I've gotten past it. But I used to stumble over privacy.
Okay.
Like, what's private about it? Because, I mean, you drive out, you go to a clinic, most people know, I mean, you can't call a clinic and get any information, but there's certain data that's tracked. So, like what's really private about it? But then as again, prepping for the show, I came across the Supreme Court case, I think that, I'm going to say that established the privacy, which was Griswold, and that was back in the 60s, I believe, as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, to me, that was a justified case, and it was a case that said that somebody was suing this woman, or maybe she brought the suit after they gave her grief about it, but she was trying to use some type of birth control pill, some type of birth control device, and they were saying she couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's like a no-brainer, okay? This is not even abortion. This is preventing abortion, and there was some grief. So that's when the privacy came, that she can do anything in the privacy of her home or whatever, some zone of privacy. That's what, from my understanding, because I know Clint's going to listen to this again, and probably some other people that are more knowledgeable about this. From my understanding, that's what Roe v. Wade capitalized on. They took that zone of privacy and said that it was broad enough that it also protected abortion. Because when I think privacy to abortion, because especially when you get into what others are saying that it really protects, it's really hairy. And since I have the mic, I'm going to throw in that bill out in California. I forget, AB 2223, I think is what it was, if I remember it correctly. But it's a bill that some assembly person came up with that says, that's proposing that there's no investigation that should be done against a woman who has an abortion with a doctor not being present. So, think about that.
Wait a minute. Let me make sure I heard you right. You saying that this bill is saying that you cannot investigate a woman that's had an abortion unless you have a doctor present during that investigation.
Nope.
Is that what you said?
Nope. The bill says Notwithstanding any other law, a person shall not be subject to a civil or criminal liability or penalty or otherwise deprived of their rights based on their actions or omissions with respect to pregnancy. Which means that a woman can have an abortion without a doctor being present.
Okay.
And obviously the baby is going to pass. The baby's going to die. And there should be no investigation, although she didn't have a doctor present when she had the abortion. I mean, so this is why I believe there has to be laws in place for stuff like this. You can't just have people. I don't want to get to the old coat hanger thing because I've never heard of a case. I've never seen one. You know, there's a lot of stuff that hits the internet. Never seen anyone doing a coat hanger abortion. So, but I don't want to get into that because there may be something. I don't even know how that came about, that whole coat hanger abortion thing. But when people will go to this length to say, I'm just going to have an abortion, you know what you're doing, we're going to have an abortion. That's just crazy because she can die. The baby's definitely going to die.
Mm-hmm.
So you got two people who would pass with no doctor there, and it's cool. Nothing to see here.
Well, you know, trying to create laws to regulate something that is an inherent right in my mind. It's an inherent right for a woman to be able to determine what's going to happen to her body. So now we've got like I heard you know, Joe Manchin, the Republican, say that.
Stop it.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I was confused for a second. But I heard him say that he would have voted for Roe versus Wade. I mean, he would have voted for the Senate going on the books, you know. But he said that he was looking for something more substantive in the law, and that had he voted for this particular law that Chuck Schumer put up, it would have wiped out 500 laws across the country, state legislation across the country. And I'm like, why in the world would we have 500 laws on the book regulating a woman's vagina? It makes no sense. It's stupid.
Well,
and we don't have any laws on the books regulating a man's penis. I don't think. Maybe one or two.
Yeah,
okay.
That's certainly not my wheelhouse there.
Okay.
But to your point, I'm not sure what I don't even think Chuck Schumer. I just think he was trying to get people on record, like he said, get them on the record where they stand.
Right.
Trying to set up some defense because Democrats are in trouble. They're in trouble come 2022 primary. They're in trouble in November. So they're trying to.
Why are they in trouble?
Well, the economy is crappy.
Okay.
With that, see, I think people could normally separate, you know, maybe some prices higher, but gas prices are high, food prices are high.
Right.
You know, they keep messing around. Now they're going away from this whole pandemic thing. I think they finally made Anthony Fauci shut up about, well, masks may come back because there's another variant. I mean, they were just losing. I don't know many winning arguments they had because without Trump, hey,
well,
nothing's really sticking.
I don't see the Democrats been in trouble at all.
Really?
At all. I think the media pushes it more than anybody else that there's trouble on the horizon. But the truth of the matter is, in my mind, is we, and when I say we, because I'm a Democrat, we have all the issues on our side except inflation, and so I believe that that Americans are astute enough to understand and realize that presidents really don't control the economy, and also I don't believe that. Let me rephrase that. I believe that during times like this, we understand that it's going to take some time to get through it, and to put in a party that their sole focus is to do nothing it's kind of ludicrous, quite frankly. Well, except for that 30% that believes that are far right. I just don't see it happening. I think they're going to go to the polls and pull that D level.
The irony with that is that presidents don't control the economy. Democrats are all in a frenzy every time Trump opened his mouth on the international stage. Oh my God, he's going to ruin it. He's going. This is why we're in this position. If presidents don't control the economy, but the first thing,
he's probably only president that really had his finger on the economy based on what he said.
Well, that's why inflation wasn't so high.
No, that's not it.
Okay, well, let's get me. Now, Trump was for energy independence. When Biden came in,
so was Obama.
When Biden came in, first thing he did, because it was a campaign promise, first thing, I'm going to get rid of this whole pipeline deal. Got rid of that. And then since then, he's made it hard to drill. There's like no drilling here because he was hijacked. He was already compromised with the Green New Deal. We're going to go with these electric cars just right out of the gate.
Trump opened up drilling, right? He opened up. He wants to turn Alaska from white to black. all over the place.
But here's the thing with that, and I heard a good case about it, and plainly put, because we never did talk about the black community. I do have a stat on that. We'll come back after the break. But plainly put, when Biden, I'm not going to use the term attack. That's like a right-wing thing. But when Biden placed legislation on the fuel industry and the coal industry, that automatically triggered that the United States won't have the same oil output. They don't have the same amount of oil in the country, so they're going to have to buy. They're going to have to import more oil now because they're not going to drill, right?
Right.
So like anything else, supply and demand. So if I see this person cutting their supply, as long as demand is still there, then the prices goes up. So he automatically inflated right when he did that.
But during the during the Obama administration, he increased our oil output.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so that has not decreased. So,
well, if it hadn't decreased, then
why are the prices so high?
Where'd the inflation come from? The prices on the oil.
It's just greed. The corporations are just greedy coming out of the pandemic. They feel like, oh, this is an opportunity for us to make some money, yo. Hey, let's raise some prices and let's stay on top of these prices. Let's incrementally raise prices for the next couple of years and just kind of drag this thing out because we can.
Yeah, I'm not sure I follow that one.
But what is that not to follow?
Biden's legislation on the industry is what makes it hard. Just like when he just what were these leases he just canceled? Now, some people like to say it's because these companies weren't using those leases, and it was in the news. Whatever it was, he just did it this past week.
Okay.
From my understanding, just reading from a company perspective, they're saying just like anything else, when you get a lease, it takes time to develop. So like you get a lease to build a house, but you have to submit the permit. When you get the permit, now you got to get the materials. There are a lot of things that goes into it. But he canceled that. But in the midst of what we're paying, $4.40
for a gallon of gas.
For a gallon of gas.
Yeah.
And you're trying to tell me the Democrats aren't in trouble?
No, the only people that are in trouble are the American people. We're in trouble because of the inflated prices. But
who's at the helm? Now, in any other situation, Doc Rivers can tell you this. In any other situation, who takes the fall? The man at the top, because you're in charge. You can't keep blaming Trump.
So can you tell me what does he need to do?
What does Biden need to do?
Yeah,
go back to allow the drilling, allow more American independence to get us off of this importing.
Okay, and that'll bring down the prices.
Well, at some point, it's going to get us back to a level inside the United States that we're not so dependent.
Okay.
Are we even
has nothing to do with the war over in?
Yeah, but we're already on this path before Putin invaded. It's just coincidental that Putin invades now, because we could say the same thing about the baby formula shortage.
Okay.
That started in November, so you guys had plenty of time. Why not the ADA? Why not the Defense Act to help babies out? Because who's that going to hit the most? Poor people. And you know how Democrats like to say, we look out for African Americans, but there's a baby formula shortage. There's high prices at the pump. People are paying 10 to 15% more across the board for daily things, and you're trying to tell me they won't remember that? In how many months? 5 months, 4 months? They won't remember this?
What I'm trying to tell you is that we're getting ready to go on a break. We're getting ready to go on a break, and when we come back off of this break, we're going to talk more about Roe versus Wade in the black community.
Exactly.
All right.
Jazz at Miss Connie's House is brought to you by Ray Williams Funeral Home, providing the highest quality, professional, and caring service for your family. Call Jeffrey Rhodes at 813-253-3419. That's 813-253-3419. Or visit him at 301 North Howard Avenue, Tampa, Florida. Ray Williams Funeral Home, for the finest care and quality service.
Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer? I got the man to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe we hunted. Dial 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen or sun. Dial 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, plus your boy stay by. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky. It's a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and giving you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecues? Come see them two brothers on the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man.
Okay, we're back, straight up the middle. I don't know how we want to address the call-in. Got a message on Facebook?
Yeah. If they got something, just send us a message on Facebook, or in the chat on YouTube, and then we'll pick it up.
Okay.
We've been dealing with these technical difficulties for almost a week now, and we've just decided we're going to have to tear it down and rebuild it.
Okay.
So we apologize for that, but bear with us. So we're talking about Biden, but and the oil. But before we get there, let's go back to the Roe versus Wade and how it affects the African American community. So listen, in my mind, I think that without a doubt it affects minorities disproportionately, and the stats show that. So the reality is that, and you tell me if I'm wrong, that the reason that they want to abolish Roe versus Wade so that there can be an increase in white babies.
Oh my! Whoa.
What?
Let me say that again.
So that there can be an increase in white babies. Okay, all babies.
You know what? I will only buy that if you told me that African Americans were forced to go in and get an abortion, because that's kind of where I am with it. Because if we're saying that it's for reproductive, to me it's just counterintuitive. I'm aborting a baby, but it's reproductive health, oxymoron. But I'll get past that. The UN, I think I saw the stat. I think the UN, I don't know what their sources are. They say between 820 and 900,000 babies are aborted every year. The CDC says 630,000 babies are aborted every year.
In this country? In this country. Okay.
Big discrepancy, right? Well, that's big enough.
So the UN says 900, and we say 600.
630.
So we 300,000 babies off.
So by population, African Americans are impacted. Percentage of population, African Americans are impacted more. And if it's a choice, and if you're going to label as a woman's right, then how can you then come back and say, oh, well, they're just trying to get more white babies to be born? How does that logic add up when it's a black woman's choice to go and abort her black child?
Well, it's 49%. 51% of the people, if they are not of color, then they must be what? White. So basically, it's about half and half. It's just that we are a smaller percentage of the of the country, but the reality of it is that they don't really care about what happens to black women, people of color, and it's and when I say they, I'm talking really the Republican Party. Their main focus is to ensure that those white babies don't die. They don't really care they don't care about anybody else's children. They just focused on their own children.
But dare I say that there's a large
percentage
of non-white Republicans. Dare I say that? But then I open it up to a different line of attack.
Well, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Open it up.
Okay, but still with that, it's like a vicious circle. If we say, well, we're a small percentage of the population, but we have a large percentage of our own killing our own, how are we ever going to be a bigger part of the population if we choose to go and abort our babies?
Okay, I'm glad you said that word. You know what word you just said?
What was that?
Choose. So that's really what it's all about. It's really more than anything else, it's about having the choice. If as long as you've got the choice, then everything else works for itself. And as women, and I ain't talking for women. This is just me. This is me talking. This is my thought. I think women would just want to have the choice. And as a man, I would want a woman to have the choice. But as a man, I also would like to have a little say-so in that as well. And my say-so should be, hey, you want to have this baby? If she says yes, okay, we have it. If she says no, then that's really pretty much it.
Well, then you have no choice.
Yes, the
man has no choice.
Oh, okay. So we just gonna take it, right?
Well, no.
I mean, that's what we're doing.
In that situation,
that's kind of what we're doing.
Because
we just
like
taking
Dave
it, right?
Chappelle said, if you want to make this kind of fair, and I hate making this joke because it seems like I'm making a joke situation. If she can abort the child, then the man shouldn't have to take care of the child if it's born. That's a fair.
Okay.
If I have the choice, whether we're going to do this or not, then if I say we keep it here, then my only choice, because if she decides to abort it, then I don't have anything. It's gone. If she decides to keep it, then my choice now becomes, I'm good. I'm going to make the best decision for me and my finances. All right, we'll take care of this baby. Right? I mean, that's where we are.
No,
because
that's not where we're.
Because I thought that was the back end, and that's what I hear some of the back end argument to choice. Well, they can't afford it. But the choice comes in who you slept with. I mean, the choice came in, did I use protection? That's the choice. We can't act like they didn't have a choice, or you told me to sleep with this guy. I mean, their choices all day long. And this is kind of trivializing. This is why I hate, just guys talking about it. But there's some common sense that can apply.
Okay.
You had a choice.
Okay. To not have sex. Is that what?
Well, yeah.
That's a choice.
That's a choice because let's just talk. We were all young at one point.
Right.
I go out to the club because a lot of stuff can happen one night stands. Go out to the club. But in the back of my mind, rarely are you going to hook up with someone if that wasn't kind of floating around, because if I had to go home and take care of something, I'm not doing something. So, I mean, we have choices.
Okay.
Now, they're subconsciously. Sometimes we don't have to be accountable to those choices. And that's where the slippery slope is. There's no accountability. So now, not only did I make the choice to go out, sleep with someone with no protection, now we're past the first trimester, in the second trimester.
It's called child support. That's the accountability. It's called child support.
So child support, is it only on the guy or is it on her? Because if it's my body, my choice, but not my child support, or is that for the guy? Because once again, guys have no choice. In this scenario, I don't see the choice for the guy. He just gets what she says, but she can have the baby without him. It's a 50-50 there.
Okay.
But after that point, it's all about her. And this, again, this is where the slippery slope. But if we're talking about Roe is only saying, it's not saying we're going to ban abortions. Roe is saying it goes back to the state where it was before Roe came into existence. Before Roe was decided, it
goes
was
back
amongst
to the
the
states. And we got how many 38 governors? Republican governors?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's pretty crappy odds.
No, but here's the thing: there's no state that said they're going to ban it. What they're saying, they're going to control some of the situations. And just like California and New York have the most aggressive and insane laws, New York will allow an abortion up to the day before, something like that. Even now, they have some crazy law. And this law that I read.
So wait a minute. You sound like you're wavering a little bit, because it sounds like you're saying that, well, if New York's law wasn't so crazy, if it was like 6 weeks, I'd go with it.
Right. And
would you?
Yeah, you have to have parameters on most things.
So there aren't any parameters on what's about to transpire, Roe versus Wade?
Yeah, they're saying all that it's decided by the state.
And the draconian laws that Texas is purporting, Mississippi is purporting, it's crazy.
But they're saying,
what they saying?
I did hear a couple of them are saying, like, not after 15 weeks, so not until that second trimester, right?
Well, listen,
or not after the first trimester, probably.
All I can tell you is,
some women help me out, because I don't know what these trimesters. I've never had a child.
You haven't? You got a child?
I've never had one.
You got children?
Not that guy. Yeah, I got plenty of kids.
Okay. You got about 1 million of them every time you go to the
I'm
well.
bad on birthdays, so I'm not counting trimesters either.
So imagine if I don't know, if we had to control our sperm. You can't imagine that, can you?
Of course you can. I mean, if that's the choice, so unless we're saying,
and I understand that guys have been trying to control it for eons, getting out just before.
Oh, this is a dangerous conversation. I knew he was going there. I'm getting to get out.
Some of them have been successful, but just we can count them on one hand, basically. Okay.
Wow.
What can I say?
Wow.
What can I say?
Well,
but back to the black community. Okay. It's going to affect the black community just like it affects the white community or the Hispanic community. But everybody at this point won't have a choice. They'll just have babies.
But that paints the law as it's going to ban abortions. There's nothing that says it's going to ban abortion. There's nothing, literally nothing. You can't point to one Republican out of the 38 governors. There's not one of their laws that says it bans it, not one. So that's hysteria. But the other thing is, if it's about white babies, then why can't we have the same focus on black babies? Why can't we say they're going to be born, and then our population increases?
Will increase.
Yeah. Why can't we take the same stand? We always take the lesser stand. Well, it's going, going to be more white babies. Well, it's going to be more black babies.
I'm okay with. My thing is just having the choice. It's to me. It's really.
But
all
that's
about
inherent
the
in the choice. I want my black baby. That's inherent in the choice.
And so, here's the thing. My brothers and my black brothers, my men, y'all just really need to, if you stepped up to the plate, we'd probably have more women choosing to have babies versus aborting the baby. Because in my mind, I would believe that if we had more men to step up to the plate and say, hey, baby, listen, let's do this. We've made a child together, or we are creating a child. Let's go ahead and take care of this. See, men have to bear the responsibility of impregnating a woman, because she can't get pregnant without you. So it's your responsibility at the very beginning. to ensure that you don't impregnate her, or that if you do, then at that point the accountability and responsibility falls on you because you've made that choice.
All right.
So listen, that's me.
Well, we're coming out of the 70s where guys can make that and women wanted to have that family. We're coming out of the 70s, and we'll come back after the break.
That's exactly where I was.
Come
in
back.
the 70s.
2022. We'll see you after the break.
You've been injured, you deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is Attorney Clinton Paris from the Law Office of Clinton Paris. For over a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, Attorney Clinton Paris, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the Law Office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview.
Hello, Tampa Bay. This is Ainsley Doe with Florida Realty Unlimited. As a broker with 15 years experience and a veteran of the Navy, I do understand your needs. Real estate prices are up. So if you're thinking of selling your home, call me for a free market analysis. If you're planning to buy a home, please call me for a free buyer's consultation. For more information, call Ainsley Doe at 813-546-1954. Once again, the number is 813-546-1954. Or check my ad out in the In Touch email.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here for you.
We're playing your favorite old school. Today's R&B. With a smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
Okay, we're back. Wow. We're gonna jump into what's going on right across the border. We're gonna jump into this Georgia governor's race.
And, when you said the border, I thought you was talking about the Mexican border.
Yeah, no, Biden's jacked that one up too, but that's we're talking about that border on the way out. But yeah. So I read a report that, and I talked about it early on the show, that Mike Pence is headlining was the term I was looking for, but he's headlining for Kemp in Georgia.
Okay.
Trump is back in Purdue as the candidate.
Yeah.
And from all indications, it said that Kemp think he has the nomination on lock. From his party.
I think he does.
So really, it's just going to be Kemp and Abrams going head to head.
Right.
But when you look at kind of behind the scenes, and I like how the article was saying it. Why is Pence doing it now? Is he doing it to give his former boss the middle finger? Like, hey, I don't have to stand and take one for the team. And
I think that the swelling has gone down from his balls being squeezed for 4 years, and he's finally gotten that so he can he can move and groove now. He can shake and bake now. He ain't scared no more. He's not way up here. He's finally found his voice, and I think he's using his voice now. Unfortunately for Pence, it's like 2 years too late, and so he just doesn't have the cojones to muster up the kind of support that he'll need to run in 2024. He just doesn't have it.
Right. Well,
But I'm not saying that in over the next 2 years they can grow bigger. But right now they're
Well-
way up here.
the way that happens, and just to kind of finish that conversation, we talked about it. The 800-pound gorilla in the room is always going to be what they call it, the MAGA king, Trump.
Trump.
I mean, what Trump has done to the Republican Party may be irreparable. I mean, it's just going to be a different party.
Yeah,
You can't have the Pences of the land anymore.
No, he's not strong enough.
Right. Yeah, that's just different. But
And just one final thought on that is, Trump has already said that he's going to support Stacey Abrams if Kemp wins. So at any rate, it's Georgia is on lock for the Democratic Party no matter what.
you think?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. And just before I forget, the good thing about the Republican Party is that they are always forcing people of color to find new ways to vote. And so that's it just makes us stronger and stronger. Although we sick of this crazy foolishness, with the way y'all do things.
Well, I don't think we had you guys out there grabbing and advocating for mail-in ballots because of the pandemic. That's something that just happened to work your way. Maybe that's why Stacey Abrams will do so well, because she was the architect in Georgia. And I'll just throw that landmine out there. And I'll also say, because I don't think anyone here it would come across your feed on Instagram or social media.
I have always been an advocate of mail-in ballots. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I recommended to my Postmaster General so many years ago when I was in the Postal Service is that why don't we push to get elections done by mail-in ballots, period. Of course, that would help to help the United States Postal Service keep its letter sorting machines going. Yeah, it was kind of selfish in that, but the U.S. Postal Service has been the most trusted government
Who
agency.
took the survey?
What do you mean, who took the survey?
I've never got a survey whether or not the Postal Service was the most trusted. Who were they saying that?
Let me ask you a question. When the last time you dropped something in the mailbox?
Well, a couple weeks ago.
Did it get there?
Yeah,
Did you trust the Postal Service to get it there?
I assume that's not an act of trust. I assume, just like I assume my vote counts. I assume.
Well, here's the thing. You use the post office more times than you vote. Would you agree with that?
Oh, certainly.
And you've been using the Postal Service for the past, 40 years? Easy? 50.
But you haven't asked me if I like the post office. I think the post office is getting what they deserve. When Amazon came along and then UPS started taking some of that business away, because post office used to think they had it on lock. You ever drove up to a post office back in the 80s, early, or even 90s, 5 o'clock? It's 4:57. They're pulling down that thing. They see you coming. You running in and they pulling it down.
Here you go. So here's
I'm
the
just
thing.
saying, you guys had everything locked down.
No, we've never had it locked down because we've never been able to compete as an agency.
Well, you're government.
We are a quasi-government agency, and we are not allowed by law to make a profit. And any profit that we do make, guess who takes it? You already know that. And so it's been a juggling act. And now that we got this crazy man in office, I still don't know why they hadn't cut the cord on him, even though he's done some things that were unpopular that might perhaps save the Postal Service some money. I'm not quite sure. I've got to do
What
some
crazy
more
man are we talking
investigation. Our PMG, the Postmaster General, that Trump appointed. I can't call his name right now because he's unimportant to me. What's next on the agenda, man? What? You don't trust the post office?
Well, no, because we're still here, because we're talking post office. There is a documentary out. Have you heard about it?
No, what is
It's called 2,000 Mules.
Okay.
Let me tell you how this is going, because I had a conversation with someone that used to be on this show that's frequent on the show, Robin, that's frequent on the show, and she was kind of like you. She's always been an advocate of mail-in ballots.
Okay.
But what I didn't know, because I've never mailed one in, I guess I was because military, but what the process used to be was you had to re-register every couple of years, right? because now I think they're changing it. DeSantis anyway. You have to re-up every year. If you're going to do a mail-in ballot, you have to kind of reapply. Maybe that's the term.
Yeah. That's just I don't get that. I mean, what are you applying for?
Well, because how are we just experienced something in this past election that I think Democrats are trying to hide, because we had record voting.
Here come the big lie.
We had the sitting president who set a record for the most votes of an incumbent president. These are facts. 69 million votes, something like that.
Right.
A record. And then we have this senile dude.
Joe Biden had a record too.
Right. The senile dude.
Right.
We had this guy come in.
You talking about Trump?
No, that's the orange man, who gets 81 million.
Right. Why can't you? Why is it such?
When was the last Biden shirt you've seen? You ever seen anybody wearing a Biden shirt? Nope.
No.
You ever seen anybody wearing a Biden hat?
Yeah.
You ain't never seen anybody wearing a Biden.
Matter of fact,
I
see some of the girls got Biden on their
you
on their
ain't
butt.
never seen. That's Bite Me. That ain't Biden.
No. Okay, it might be Bite Me. All right.
But the point is, Georgia was central to that. Stacey Abrams put that on the map. This get out the vote. See, you hid it behind get out the vote. When I know you showed up at somebody's house who wasn't going to vote, you had this thing, fill it out, and I'll take it for you.
Okay.
That's not voting. That's strong arming. You guys try to sweep that under the rug like these 80 million, these 81 million votes happened just because of Trump. No. You guys used an existing process. You twisted. You bent some corners, and there's this record number of votes that now you can't justify why this guy who got so many votes is so unpopular in 15
Biden?
months.
Biden is just as unpopular as was Trump.
But here's the point. Here's
So
why you
what's the
can't
point?
use that argument. He just set the record. I don't think there's going to be another president in the next, probably our lifetime, that's going to get 81 million. And in 15 months, this same guy is now
Guess
unpopular.
What? He's going to do it again. He's going to get those. You know why he's going to get those same numbers again? Probably more.
How?
Because y'all got stupid and let Roe versus Wade come up on the docket, and now it's going to wreck any possibility of you all getting control. It's done.
But here's
it's a done deal.
Once again, you guys are assuming
you're gonna have these women, these white women, who will go into that curtain, and instead of pulling the R, they're gonna pull the D. They can listen, hey, look, we got to keep this.
Them same white women who can't get
control
formula
over our bodies, y'all.
The same white women who can't get formula for babies going to go and pull for the D, right?
Yeah, they're gonna pull for the D, because guess what? A lot of these women are using formula so that they don't have to breastfeed. There are some women that just can't breastfeed. So all this doing is kind of pushing women into, all right, well, let me do what I probably should have been doing all along. But this is a man talking. I'm sure look, if the phones was working, they'd be burning up right now. But look, my daughter, case in point, she's breastfeeding. I'm so thankful and grateful that she can. And so Similac and formula is not a big deal to her. All I'm saying is that there's no way. I think it's a planned attack on the way things are done, and it makes absolutely no sense for those companies to run out of formula. That makes no sense.
Well, don't you think then that the same people you say are going to be smart enough to understand what's going on with Roe, you don't think the same people think there's something fishy about, of all things, babies. Babies have been born. Why, if this was an issue in November 21, why was nothing done by your guy, by the guy at the top?
Okay, what was the issue in November 21?
They said the shortage started. I mean, that's just fact.
Right.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I know what the issue was.
What was the issue?
The FDA said that Abbott, I don't know if it's Abbott, but whoever the large baby formula maker, that their plant, I don't want to say sanitary, but there was something that was unsafe about the plant.
Right.
The plant was pretty adamant that the baby formula was not this area that they
had
pointed
recalls
out.
on a lot of the formula.
They did it anyway just so that probably for legal purposes.
Right.
But they were adamant that this thing that the FDA pointed out had nothing to do with him. Now, we're in COVID. One of this COVID thing, right?
Right.
So if COVID's going on, we know there are babies in the midst of COVID.
Right.
Matter of fact, that second baby boomer generation probably started with COVID. I mean, we won't know that for some time. But my point is, if you knew from a government perspective,
back
the
in
man
November,
being right,
right,
then why are we here now? And then why in November, when you're trying to run, you're going to tell me it was the orange man's fault, or it was Putin's fault, or you know what? I didn't know.
I don't think they haven't blamed Putin. They haven't blamed the orange man for.
So what's the problem? So who's at fault?
It's the manufacturers of the formula. Here's the thing: they've got a responsibility, and they have to be accountable for their failure to comply with probably OSHA regulations, keeping the processes safe, and they've been probably getting away with a lot of things, and that's why they had to pull a lot of this stuff, because it's getting some of these babies sick. And the good thing is that it's making women, those that can, it's making women think probably twice about formulas and knowing that the real formula that babies need is right there in their own bodies. And this is another thing about controlling your own body, and you just can imagine the amount of money you save just by feeding your baby yourself.
Oh, I got some notes.
We got a caller on. Let caller, come on, caller.
Good morning.
Oh, I know that
we got a
voice.
female, y'all. Hallelujah.
Come on with it.
Hey, Sister Robin, how are you?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Good. This is Robin Lockett on the other line. She is also a co-host of Straight Up the Middle, and she is the regional director with Florida Rising. Talk to us.
Florida Rising. So I originally called just to welcome, to say hi and welcome the professor back.
Hey.
But since you're on the topic of formula, I'm thinking just like Daryl was thinking. I am a mom, a mother of two, and I breastfed. So, all these years, formula has been created, and of course, everybody can't do it, right? But what if it is a time for things to be reset? Formulas are to feed a baby milk. It's amazing how much milk costs, how much Pampers costs. But let's go back to basics. Pump your milk, because God naturally designed you to do that.
Yes.
Now, there are women that something happens and they can't. So then that's when the formula or whatever, would come into play. Or you have a lot of women that sell their milk, right? Because it's coming naturally from their body. So it may be a time for us to reset, because that's what the pandemic and everything is about, right? Resetting. Have an opportunity to reset to what is natural.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks for calling, Robin.
Wow. Don't hang up now, Robin. Now that we got you, we're glad to have you on from a female perspective, because we don't know nothing about breastfeeding. But can you tell us about your thoughts on Roe versus Wade before you get off?
Oh, Lord.
Did you hear my spill on it before you called in, Robin?
Oh, no.
Okay. I'm glad. Go ahead.
I think with Roe versus Wade, I think that the bottom line to that is that everybody has the right to make a decision about, and this is not a soundbite.
Okay.
But everybody does have the right to make a decision about their bodies, whether they want to carry a baby, whether they don't. It's not up to me to judge that other individual about what happened, how it happened, when it happened, because I'm not the maker. If you believe in the maker, a God, that judgment is between that person and that woman.
Amen.
So if a woman carries a baby and she's forced to carry a baby, we have plenty of kids that's in foster care right now. We have plenty of kids where the mom can't handle the kids and they end up in jail because there's no help with it. We have plenty of kids that, and you talk about black babies being adopted in the adoption center, system, they're the last to do it. So I think it just infringes. And men, if they are, because they're making decisions because they're the primary people that's in D.C. or whatever, right, making these decisions. Let's say that you have to be forced to get a vasectomy.
Well, hey.
Let's infringe on your rights.
Well, here's the thing.
Your manhood.
Here's the thing. It's not a ban. And so that's what will deflate once this takes center stage, and it will be in the primary. And again, in 2024, once this takes center stage, and then the educational piece comes out that it's not a ban, and we can always work through when people say it's a ban as if you're losing, you're not. Before Roe was decided, it was at the state level. Now, obviously, we're talking in the 60s, and that's why Roe was decided. But still, it's not a ban. But
the federal government protects it because now you won't have states doing different things. So
well, you have to have some
overlay of it, and it
right.
protects it.
Well, and I think we have an expectation, like anything else, that the government is going to look out for the welfare of everybody. So if they didn't do anything, and then in a state like Mississippi or wherever they're more impoverished blacks, and then if we find out that stats show that they suffer some enormous rate because they have these poor these abortions that aren't safe, then we're going to be mad. Well, why didn't the government do something about it? But when the government is proactive and they put something in place broadly, and they just say, hey, look, you can't do this, you can't do that. If they just put a time period, I don't know why something's wrong with that. But again,
there again, if who's to say it's right or wrong? If a woman wants to have an abortion after 3 months and somebody's willing to do it, then that's between she, that doctor that does it, and when she meets her maker.
Okay.
Because, again, and let me just say this. Just the idea of women making the decision, it's not birth control. You know the process of what it takes to get an abortion? A woman, now you do have women that, hey, they've done it. Right? So that's a small percentage. But the mental process for a woman to walk the steps of making a decision to get an abortion, that's a process. It's not an overnight thing.
Oh, yeah, certainly. And I don't want to make little of that. But looking at the reality of it, that process...
Whose reality, though? It's not
no.
man's
Well,
reality.
what I'm saying is that the process of that is...
There shouldn't be even... And there shouldn't be a man that has an opinion on this.
Well, see, then we say that. We say that, but then you can't get pregnant without a man. A woman can't get pregnant without the man, but then he can't have an opinion about it. But if she has the baby, then he has to support the child. So there has to be some things across that. We were repeating the joke, so we're not making light of it. What Dave Chappelle said: if she can kill it, then I shouldn't have to pay for it. If she can make a decision about the welfare of her body, and a lot of them, and I think some will agree to this, they make it dependent on, well, it's going to be an inconvenience to my lifestyle. Not, oh, I cannot afford it. Well, it's a baby. I don't want the baby. And if we're treating life as something that is inconvenience, then I think there's something with the perspective that's wrong. But
so that's I should be on this show. Yeah, but that's so that there a cause for judgment. So it's not even if she says, you know what, I can't do this. I already have a baby. I'm not willing to bring this child into this world because I just can't do it. Who am I to judge that?
And I can swallow that pill. I tell you what, I can swallow that pill. It won't change my religion. It won't change what I think about it. I can swallow that pill. But then you can't judge men for being deadbeat dads. And you need to let them out of jail who didn't pay for their child. I mean, if you're going to judge, if we can't judge her, then we can't judge him and call him a deadbeat for not taking care of the child.
No, that's not true, because that man, he's a deadbeat for a reason, because that woman, if he's not paying child support and that woman and that kid is alive, you have to handle each situation differently. So you can't combine everybody in the same, put everybody in the same boat.
But those two people are in the same room in the same bed. So we're talking about those same two people. Those same two people that made that one baby.
You're talking about man and woman.
Well, I am.
Not talking about, so a man that's in jail or a man that has child support issues with the baby that's here. It has nothing to do with another woman somewhere else that's aborting a baby.
Right.
Two different situations.
Every situation is going to be different, so there has to be some law that would put parameters on it. We're not, because it's not a ban on abortion. So what I'm saying is, when this comes to be a voting issue, I think when we start dispelling and always attacking the term ban, because it's not a ban. There's no state in the 50 states that is banning it.
It's, to me, it's almost kind of a law of natural order. So if you just leave alone what's already in place, then the natural order will take place. Now you may not think having an abortion is natural, but at least people have the choice to decide what natural is to them.
For them.
Okay.
For them.
Hey, Robin, I'm glad.
Robin, thank you so much for calling in, and the next time you will be on the show, because we need a woman's perspective, and this abortion thing ain't over with.
Yeah, it's a tough conversation. And the unfortunate thing about this tough conversation is it's politically driven. And my question to those same men that's striking this, whether you want to call it a ban or not, is a limitation of a woman's right. How many of those men pay for abortions for women? Guarantee you a whole heck of a lot of them. But they stand righteous on a throne. So, no.
Well, I know that Florida Rising, your organization, is always on the forefront of protesting for a lot of societal rights. One of the things that's happening right now with the Supreme Court is we got some justices being protested at their homes. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't protest just be protesting. I think that that's an escalation tactic, and I think that they're not causing harm to anybody. Now, if they're damaging property and so forth, then that's one thing. But they're not they're not just as uncomfortable as their decisions are. Then people are going to go to their house and make them uncomfortable. Just make it an inconvenience. So standing out on the sidewalk or on the street, which is public property, that's their right. So people have a right to protest.
All right.
Thanks for the call, Robin.
Thank you, Robin.
Wow, mouthful. I'm almost scared to even open my mouth, because Robin might not play with that.
Man, look.
Serious about that.
Well, one of the things that we didn't touch on before we call it quits is, do you believe that Trump is having an impact on the candidates that he's backing? What kind of impact will he have on some of these primary races?
Yeah, I think up until either the week before last, he was 58-0. I'm talking about across the United States, 58-0. I think Ohio.
That's more than Floyd Mayweather.
Well, here's the thing, and I think one of his candidates didn't make as far as getting to the primary season. But yeah, Trump is definitely going to be the make or break.
So let me just say this. Here's what I believe. Out of all the candidates that he's backed, they are all going to lose.
You think?
All 58 of them. They're going down. Yeah.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
But we always see, even Ed and Rain was already braced that, well, in a midterm election, the incumbent president loses or the party loses.
Right.
Well, that's almost a given.
Almost.
And I think Joe Biden is already braced that he's going to be a lame duck president. We're just wanting to know by what margin Democrats are going to take a hit. And if you were doing so well, if it were just about the economy, just about certain products, but the fact that we're paying 10 to 15% more across the board,
that's all you all can talk about. Is the
but
economy.
Here's the thing. But that's the thing. Remember?
Right.
Who was it? Is your guy? He was your first black president, Clinton. It's the economy, dummy.
Listen. Thanks to you all, it's not the economy now. It's really Roe versus Wade is going to be the driving factor.
And I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So we'll see what our Florida governor is going to do. He hadn't done a whole lot, but
he done a whole lot. Listen. He just writing stuff like this, just signing it off like he losing his mind. All right, but
it's been great.
It's been good.
So we're done. Straight up the middle. You'll have your host back next week, Clint and Pete.
Clint and Pete. All right. Peace out, y'all. Thanks for having me.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661.